that's better. So I first came to Spain on the 2nd of January and I've been living here since, with a lot of travel in between. I think I would know Spain better than my own country at this point. I've been to about 10 cities in Spain and about only 3 in Australia. And within that time I've gotten to learn a lot about the country and some of its benefits and some of its disadvantages. Spain is such a beautiful country. You can be in a medieval city in one place and then just 2 or 3 hours away it's a completely different architecture. So Spain is actually home to 5 of the most iconic artists in the history of art. But here are some things that you may not know about Spain. So the visa process is really quite tough. I mean, I don't know if you've heard of Spanish bureaucracy can be quite difficult to deal with. I had to apply for a visa 2 times and in both times I experienced small challenges, but then again I'm still here, so it's doable, but you definitely need to learn patience or have some to begin with. Also, if you get anything shipped from overseas, I highly recommend that just don't do it in the first place. Either 1, it won't come, or 2, you will have to pay a big fee for it. If you think a group of Spanish people are fighting, chances are they are. Just kidding. No, they just have very passionate speakers and they're quite loud when they speak. I've noticed that, I mean I can't generalize for everyone, but I noticed that Spanish people tend to say what's on their mind. It is very normal for a Spanish person to tell you how beautiful you are, or just anything that's on their mind when they first meet you. It's just a very expressive language and I value that. Theft is significantly high in big cities. I experienced this, unfortunately, firsthand twice in the first 3 months of living in Spain. My phone was pickpocketed in Madrid and both times shipped to Morocco. Very challenging, but just be careful in metros, in clubs and in crowded places, so even those street performances, because when your attention is divided, that is when you are most vulnerable. So Spanish is a beautiful language. It is one of the main reasons why I decided to come to Spain, because of the accent. I really love the accent and the language itself. But surprisingly, there's actually quite a few swear words that gets thrown around kind of freely. It doesn't have that strong meaning as it does in English. I know in Australia that we tend to throw swear words around quite often as well, but there's actually a few ways to say fuck in Spanish. Here are some examples. Example number 1, me cago en la leche, which actually translates to I shit in the milk, but it just means fuck. Example number 2, me cago en la puta, which also means I shit on the bitch, but it means fuck. There's a lot of swear words in Spanish. Just don't be surprised if you hear it a lot or it gets thrown around. Please don't use this freely. I mean, I'm just telling you for information. Spain is actually quite diverse. It's small in its size, but a lot of Spanish people from the north will tell you that people from the south are completely different, that you won't be able to understand what they're saying. For example, in the south, you will hear gracia instead of gracias, which they kind of eat their words, they S's more specifically. They have a very carefree way of life. They don't work as much and they're always partying. Maybe people from the south will tell you things people from the north, that they're more serious. But Spain has 5 official languages. In each region they might have a different language. It's not Spanish that's spoken all around the country, and they have altogether 10 different dialects. So in smaller cities and obviously villages, siesta time is a real thing. They have naps at lunchtime, so from 2 to 5 p.m. all the shops are closed, except for grocery stores. but don't expect to see people on the street. Even the big city that I live closest to, which is an hour away, if I walk around 5 p.m, it is very quiet and it feels very strange. Also, everything's closed on Sundays, so don't expect to do any shopping on Sundays. So one of the things that really shocked me were meal times. Meal times in Spain are very different to the meal times back home. Spanish people tend to eat from the moment they wake up to just before they go to bed. So breakfast starts at around 7 a.m, 8 a.m, 9 a.m, depending who they are or when they wake up. And then lunchtime can be about 2 to 3 or yeah, around there, after school or after work. And then dinner time is around 9 or 10 or 11 p.m, depending of course on who they are. That is something I haven't gotten used to. I still eat dinner at 6 or 7 p.m, and that makes the kitchen quite free for me. When you go out for a meal, food is genuinely quite cheap. You can get a full set menu for around €20 and you get a first dish, second dish, dessert, then you get a bottle of wine or a bottle of water, and that will be very fine dining and it's very delicious usually depending on where you are. But if you do end up going out with a group of Spanish people, expect your meal times to last 2 to 3 or 4 hours maybe. They have a very relaxed approach to the meals and they will sit and talk for a very long time, so make your schedule fit that if you ever go out to have a meal with someone. And it's also very normal to have a coffee after your dessert and everything else. The drinking age doesn't really exist here. The drinking age is 18, but because it's very relaxed here, kids tend to start drinking at 12 or maybe 13, depending of course on who they are. You can expect to see bars any day of the week with big families, kids. They bring the kids to bars, and usually on the weekends I always see some of my students at the bar when I do go out. And yeah, we just have a drink sometimes or we just have a chat. So life here is very, very relaxed in Spain. The Spanish really know how to enjoy life, and they actually have a fiesta or a party depending on what region it is in almost every region really. Some of the famous festivities are Las Fallas, which is in Valencia, in Tomatina I think, in Pamplona. There is one in my village specifically called San Roque, which is held in August, and they have it's 3-4 days I think, and you pay about €100. You can get access to inside the bull ring where they have food, drinks, music, and everyone says it's a good time. There's so many people. They also have a tradition where they walk up to San Roque, which is up a hill, and it meets a church on the top of the hill, where they walk up barefoot around after the sun sets in the summertime, and where they'll get food and drinks and all that stuff up the hill. Everything starts late here due to the siesta nap times. Their days practically split into two, and their days are generally longer. So if you do decide to party or go out or have a drink in Spain, it is very normal for what we call pre's, like pre-drinking at someone's house. Over here it's called botellón, and that can start around 11 p.m. or 12 after dinner time. And at times you can expect to leave the house at 2 a.m. and then be at the club until, who knows, until the sun rises. It's actually very normal for Spanish people to get breakfast after a night out at a bakery and then have a coffee and then spend all of Sunday in bed sleeping. And that's all. I hope this was insightful and you learned something new today. Please don't swear at people. Spain is a very beautiful country and I have no regrets of coming to live here. I have had the opportunity to travel all over Europe and last year visit 13 countries. If you like this video, please make sure to give it a like and subscribe. In the future I will explore more topics on self-development, Spain, nutrition, and of course travel. I hope you liked it. Have a lovely day.